What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. And today I wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving for you all here today in 2024. Today we're going to be talking about just that, and I'm also going to get into a positivity discussion. I've been wanting to discuss this in some capacity here, even though it's not aviation related. I do think that I can help each and every one of you out, and I thought this would be a good time to fit it in. So again, I hope all of you are doing fantastic today. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope all of you have a wonderful time with family and friends and enjoying the meaning and the purpose of Thanksgiving to you. I personally think it's a fantastic holiday and definitely has awesome representation regarding its purpose, and thinking of key concepts like appreciation, gratitude, thankfulness, and other such words that are very important in these meanings that are very, I don't want to say important again since I've already mentioned it several times, but very meaningful to recognize. So yeah, definitely a huge day in those regards, and I hope all of you once again have a great time with family and friends and just enjoy the moment, because it's going to be absolutely awesome. We'll have some fun to go along with it, but definitely want to establish that key thought of appreciation, gratitude, and just thankfulness in general. And I really appreciate all of you. Super thankful for all your support here on my channel. Really means the world to me. It's been an amazing 2024, and I hope throughout the videos I've been able to show you and express my appreciation greatly, because I really do appreciate all of you watching these videos. It's been a huge year. I've really enjoyed all the content we've made. We've definitely went into various sectors, which I think has been really cool to branch out and see what different forms of content look like, but at the same time also just enjoy the moment and just stick to the fundamentals as well and enjoy the model aircraft landscape, but also expanding on that into like aviation news and the other sectors that we've dove into this year. So no doubt it's been a bunch of fun. I really appreciate all of you watching the videos and always want to recognize that. So that's exactly what this video will do today. And I'll be sure to correlate this discussion that I'm going to have with all of you today back to, even give it some aviation meaning as well, along with just providing some additional ways to think about life, because it's easy to get caught up in negative thoughts and just have rough connotations in general. But I do think that if everybody practices the mindset that I'm going to go over here in this video today, it is certainly possible to be just an amazingly positive person, and really tough for any external circumstances to get to you in any way. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and talk about these. And again, I hope all of you enjoyed the assessment today. This is a message I wrote up a couple weeks ago. This goes into some detail regarding how I really feel about all situations and what you can expect from them. So let's just go ahead and talk about that. So I can choose to be positive every day. That's kind of an obvious one, but that's a decision of mine that I've made. I can control what I can control. I think this is the biggest one for almost most people, is being worried about what they can't control. And I can have a growth mindset. And before I get into, the major details of this, what I want to say is I respect all opinions and perspectives on life. What I'm going to provide to you today is the reason why I practice this one, and the reason why I think it's important for everybody to at least consider having a mindset like this to lead to positive thoughts and to not let situations that are out of their control get them down. Once again, and we'll talk about it through the message, there certainly is a relationship between being realistic and being positive too. But at the same time, you can only do so much that's out of your control to worry about that, right? You can control what you can control, and I truly do believe that that's what makes happiness and positivity a reality for most people. So here's my thought. Why have a negative, out of my control, and fixed mindset? You only live once. I have practiced a positive, in my control, and growth mindset for over 3 years now, and that was when I was sick with Epstein-Barr virus back in 2021. And I can confirm that this mindset results in healthy thinking. What I have below here is 3 statements, and I have a typical response and I have my response. So a statement is like, darn, Connor, that's a bummer that your flight got canceled. And a normal response would be like, yeah, it really sucks, which for most people it would. And it definitely can get to you as well. And there's only so much you can do about it. But once again, back to line number 2, control what you can control. So my response is, I'll be even more excited for next one, because flying is certainly an amazing, opportunity that most of us have. So it's going to make us even more excited when it does go right. Another statement is, darn, Connor, I'm really sorry that you're not feeling well today. And a normal response would be like, yeah, I hate it. It really is unfortunate. But my response is going to be, yeah, this is why I appreciate feeling good most of the time, and recognizing that, because the one day that I don't feel as good, it just happens. And then another statement, the last one here, is, sorry that you didn't get to decide where we're going for lunch today. And a normal response would be like, yeah, it really bothers me or whatever. But my response is, this is why I appreciate any opportunity that I have to choose where lunch is, because you don't always get those decisions, and it's really cool when you have an opportunity to. So I feel like it's certainly worth emphasizing the positive thoughts and really not getting into any of the negative thoughts, because once again, there's only so much you can do with it before it makes a person miserable, depressed, any of those thoughts that we don't want to think about. So here's the paragraph to supplement all that. I've been gifted the ability to learn this mindset and practice positivity 24/7. I've been at rock bottom before, and I'm talking about Epstein-Barr virus pretty much. It's not fun. It's easy to get complacent and not be willing to listen to other perspectives. I feel like that's a really key line right there, because it really is easy to get in your own mindset and not even think about, other ways to think about subjects and, thoughts in general. I can control how I treat others. I can make it clear to others that I care about them, and I can be the best version of myself. I think that's also extremely important to recognize that, because all those factors are in your control, and it's very, very easy to, let those slip away from you. I'm sure many challenges will be ahead, but the aforementioned mindset will help me overcome any adversity. And I think that's also, another statement that's really important to have, because all of what I talked about previously will lead to being able to overcome adversity, because it happens every single day. But really key here, it's free to be happy, positive, and optimistic. Those don't cost any money to do. And here we go. Being realistic is important, because that's normally where some of the negative thoughts will come from most people. But the relationship between realism and positivity is my foundation. I think for many of you, it can be your foundation as well, right? Because once again, most of these negative thoughts come from being realistic about situations or external factors that are out of our control. But if you can keep that relationship and, as the focal point, it can certainly be very powerful, and also you can turn a negative into a positive if you think about it the right way. So that leads me to this: never underestimate yourself, never sell yourself short, and never give up. It's never too late to change your mindset on life and how you can make a positive difference. And I have 3 supplemental graphs here that I think are really important to recognize and think about life this way, because if you don't, it's clear. Science proves that a correlation from, negativity can lead to overall bad life. So that's why I recommend doing the following here. Thoughts create beliefs. Beliefs impact feelings. Feelings influences actions, and actions sentiments thoughts. And it's a repeating cycle that just continues to go around that, that's just how life typically goes for most people. And this can go in a positive or negative way. So let's kind of break it down. You have a thought, and that will create your belief about how you feel about it. Let's talk about Griswold here. Griswold is a Frontier A320 Neo, and if I think that it's a cool plane, that's going to create the belief that it's a cool plane. The belief of this impacts how I feel about Griswold, because it's a great Frontier A320. And this feeling influences my actions, talking about how Griswold's a great A320 or whatever it is. And this action sentiments my thought of why Griswold's a great plane. And I'm going to turn it around, but I start with the positive examples so that we can establish where our thoughts need to be if we want to have a power of positive thinking. Griswold's a bad plane, and Griswold creates the belief that Griswold's bad. This belief will impact my feelings and make make me feel like Griswold's a bad plane. These feelings influence my actions of talking to others, or however I portray Griswold being a bad plane, and the actions will sentiment my thoughts, once again, about Griswold being a bad plane. But once again, I'm going to repeat to you the positive one, because that's the one that I'm going to focus on, and I recommend you too, because there's really no reason I know it's a simple example, but there's really no reason why Griswold shouldn't be the positive here. Thoughts create beliefs that I have a thought that Griswold's a great plane, and it creates my belief that Griswold's going to be a great plane. This belief of Griswold being a great plane is going to impact my feelings of Griswold the Bear being a great plane. The feelings will influence the action of Griswold being a great plane, and who I talk to about Griswold, how I portray Griswold, how I share Griswold, so on and so forth. And the actions will sentiment and root my feelings and thoughts about Griswold being a great plane. So that's the simple example for that. You can put it onto any situation in life, but really it starts with the thoughts, and then you have to believe it before you can feel it. And then finally that leads to actions about what you think about whatever subject it is. And I know it's really, kind of dumbed down, but really does make the difference in some of the biggest situations. Here's another one. Let's see. Let me come up with a good example. I have a thought that, I get completely overwhelmed with college and work's really tough. And that thought will create the belief, but then I back up. So I think that I am capable of conquering any challenge that college may bring me. And this creates the belief that I can conquer any thought that comes from college. These beliefs will impact how I feel about college, and I feel better about it because I feel that way. Because I believe that way rather. And the feelings will influence my actions about how I handle college. So I'll be able to conquer it more. I'll be able to think about ways to get outside the box and be able to conquer these challenges, so on and so forth. And these actions will lastly sentiment my thoughts about college, knowledge in how I'm going to be able to conquer any of these goals. Really important. I really recommend practicing that for any situation, but it all starts with thoughts 100%, and that's just how it goes. Here we go between growth and fixed mindsets. This is a huge limitation for most people, and if you let it get to you in a fixed mindset, unfortunately, you're pretty much done. And that's not to, just, again, this is being realistic, right? There's a relationship between being realistic and being positive, but unfortunately, if you have a fixed mindset, it's going to be nearly impossible to grow as a person. I want to avoid making mistakes. You have to make mistakes to learn. Simple. That's the only way that works. I think all of us have, at some point had a growth mindset in that aspect. I'll never be that smart is a thought, right? But feedback can be valuable to make you smart. So you have to keep that in mind as well. I know best. How about, is this my best work? I think that that's a little bit better of a thought there, because there's always ways to improve. This is good enough. No, I want to improve with practice. Sounds a little bit better. And then the biggest one, I think, for all people, I give up. I think everybody's been there at some point, so keep that in mind. But how about I won't give up? Again, impossible to grow with a fixed mindset. It's not going to work. In statements like the ones on the right side of that graph there, it's not going to cut it. So what you have there for the growth mindset is going to be much more valuable, and it will be ways to improve and continue to grow as a person. So going to be tough to innovate and succeed in life if you're not asking yourself those questions on the left side of the graph on a consistent basis. And it's really important. Mistakes help me learn. Feedback is valuable. Is this my best work? I will improve with practice, and I won't give up. And just start, you can fill in, you can get a marker or whatever you want to, and just start writing other mindsets that go with the growth mindset. So again, it's really important to recognize this relationship here and what's important to it. But having a fixed mindset, it's going to be tough to, it's easy to drown in those thoughts if you have a fixed mindset. And it's going to be really tough as a person to be able to innovate and grow and overcome any shortcomings that you may have mentally if you're not on the growth mindset. Lastly, this is probably my favorite one right here. What can I control and what I can't control? I think this is where most people get caught up. I think this is a huge roadblock for more people having a positive, optimistic outlook and just being happy in general. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So we're going to talk about, first off, what's out of my control to get that out of the way. The past is out of your control. The future technically is out of your control, but you can influence what the future looks like. So keep that in mind. The actions of others is 100% out of your control. The opinion of others is also out of your control. You can influence actions and opinions, but you cannot control them, period. What happens around me is out of my control. What people think of me is out of my control. The outcome of my efforts is out of my control. And how others take care of themselves is also definitely out of my control. Now, again, you can contribute and you can influence how other people do all this, but the past, that's done. That's the only one here that you really can't influence at all. The others, you can have an influence in some capacity. If you want to get a college degree for whatever you want to move towards, the future, that is in your control to do that. The actions of others, you can tell them how you feel about it, but again, you have to balance the relationship of what's practical and what's actually going to come out of it, right? There's only so much you can do, and it depends if the person has a growth mindset or a fixed mindset too. And keep that in mind when you're talking to people as well, because sometimes you're going to run into a dead end, and if you don't think it's worth trying anymore towards, trying to get them out, then it may not be. But I will say, at least if you see potential in the person, try to bring them a growth mindset and try to bring them perspectives on life that they can appreciate. Okay. What's in your control? Your boundaries are in your control. Your thoughts and actions are 100% in your control, and you control them all the time. The goals that you set are in your control. What you give your energy to is absolutely in your control, and how you speak to yourself and how you feel and your perspective is 100% in your control. And lastly, a really major one is how you handle changes is also in your control, right? So all of these factors you can put together, and you can control all of those. I want to make a major observation about what's out of your control. 4 of the 8 items that are out of your control are other people, period. So the actions of others, the opinions of others, what other people think about you, and also how other people take care of themselves. You can't worry about those, in my opinion. You can think, you can care about them and try your best to influence them for others if you see potential in them and want to see them grow as a person. But once again, at the end of the day, you cannot control them. So that's kind of my thought. Why worry about them if they're out of your control if you've already done all that you can to influence that person? So I feel like all this is really important and a really, critical perspective on life to be able to grow as a person. I've been, fortunate to see it from all perspectives, and I can certainly say that what I read off at the beginning there and then going over these 3 graphs really has contributed to a positive growth mindset for me, and I really just can't stand, thinking about what's out of my control or, all those factors. What I can do is, give my best energy towards it, control my thoughts and actions, and, convince myself that I've done all that I can to be better to not only other people, but also to the world as a whole. And, I can handle these changes to the best of my ability. And I can also, have expectations on the goals I set and set my boundaries and, have those constraints for whatever it is. It's really important to think about all this. And I think it's really important to also, when you're talking with people or whatever it is, you just got to be realistic about the situation. If you've already tried several times with somebody to change how they, change how they think is a little much, but influence how they think. Let's try that. Influence how they think, and it doesn't change, then it's probably not worth giving your energy to. Or, if you've talked to somebody and, you really thought this way, but then it ends up going another way, then there's only so much you can do at that point. And I've certainly learned that through several friendships. Fortunately, I've been able to have so many of them, that have had different situations and perspectives and so on and so forth. And I think it's important to think about all of that and how it relates back to you. And at the end of the day, I think, there's definitely a fine line, but I think it'll be kind of obvious through your friendships and your opportunities when it's time to give less energy towards, how people think or whatever it is. Once again, you can influence all this. You cannot control it. And it's just a fact. And that's why I'm thankful for life today, right? And that goes back to our Thanksgiving meaning. I can control all of what's in that graph there, but I can't control what's on the outside. What I can do is influence it from what's in my control. And that starts with all of what's in there. What I give my energy towards pretty much can help influence what's out of my control, but it cannot control it at the end of the day. And don't get caught up in trying to control what you can't control. It just doesn't lead to a good mindset. Science shows that positivity goes a long way. And if you don't practice what's in your control, if you don't practice a growth mindset, and if you don't practice the power of positive thinking, chances are that's probably not going to go very well. And once again, I'm not unrecognizing the relationship of being realistic, but the way you handle being realistic is the key point here. You can 100% be realistic and be a positive person. It's not impossible to do that. I do it all the time, right? Let me see. I'm trying to get an internship for next summer in the airline operation job, and I'm being realistic about it possibly being, possibly not happening just due to all the competition that there is. I've accepted that, and what I'm going to do with that is use it as an incentive for me to continue to push forward and be the best version of myself right now. It's a bummer. Once again, a normal response. It absolutely sucks that I probably won't be able to get one just because of how competitive it is. But my response to it's going to be, I'm going to take any opportunity I get and do the best that I can with it and move forward. There's only so much that I can do because it's out of my control whether I get one or not. I can influence it, but I 100% cannot control their decision on whether they would accept me or not. And that's as simple as it gets for that. I'm about to move out of this house right here. This whole setup that you see right here, it's about to be out of my control because I'm not going to live here anymore. But once again, I have to move forward and I have to handle what's in my control. And what's in my control about it is how I put my energy towards it, how I decide to think about it, and 100% what I take from it right now to influence the future. And that's big because, all of you, I'm sure, have really got accustomed to seeing this setup here in all the videos and so on and so forth. And while it's about to go away soon because times have moved on and I'm growing up, what I can't take away from it is all the amazing memories that have been made here and the possibility of being able to come back here and make some videos too. Can't forget about all of that and how important it is. But once again, at the end of the day, I think, it really goes back to the first 3 lines there. And that's what I started with today. You can be positive every day. It doesn't matter how realistic you can be. I can be as realistic as we want about, any political issue, any religion, whatever you want to be realistic about. But at the end of the day, regardless of how realistic you are about any of these sensitive subjects or how you feel about whatever it is, you can be positive about it. And that's how I feel about it. And I think everybody can be positive about it no matter how you swing it. There is always a positive. There's always light at the end of any negative situation. And you can make it positive so fast, right? There are so many. And also keep in mind that there's certainly a chance that it is meant to be that way for a reason. I didn't know why I got deathly sick in the summer of 2021. I was devastated, rock bottom, was so frustrated with the whole situation. You all can go back and watch those videos. That was rock bottom for me, and it was really tough to overcome that. But I realized that all that happened to me, in my opinion, to make me the person that I am today. And I'm not going to hide it. I mean, this kind of speaks for itself. I think many of you have seen this before. Let me see if I can get it up there. So I'm not going to go into detail on this, but I think all of you can kind of tell, there might be some influence from that as well. But here's what I got to say about it. It's how I choose to believe. It's how I choose to think. It's what I grew up with. It's what I have seen in my life be the most powerful. And I've seen some miraculous, just unprecedented events in my life, that have came from that. So that's what I have to say about that aspect of it. But what I will say here regarding it is, you can control what you can control, and it's as simple as that. And I think it's important to think about that, and I think it's important to have that relationship to be able to maximize that. No matter what you believe or how you feel about subjects or what's going on in the world right now, you can control what you can control, and that's as simple as it gets. And I think it's important to recognize that, and I think it's important to put your energy towards controlling that, because you can be as optimistic as you want with this mindset, and I think that's huge. And it really has made the difference for me, and has changed the person that I am today because of that. So I think it's really important. And once again, the growth mindset. It's going to be nearly impossible to control what you can control if you don't have a growth mindset. If you're starting out at the bottom, never have thought about controlling what you can control, it's going to be really tough to go, move forward if you don't have the growth mindset to go with it. So that's huge. And once again, that goes back to the first graph that we talked about. What starts with your thoughts? And it's really important to move forward in those regards. So yeah, I really hope all of you enjoyed this assessment today. We definitely really got into it, but I really wanted the platform to talk about it. I know this isn't going to be my most popular video ever, but what I will say is, if I made a difference for one person or you watching this right now, that was the purpose of this video. I can control that I made this video today, and I can control that I had a growth mindset to be able to talk about all these subjects today, and I can choose to be positive about making this video today, because I know that there's a very good chance that it's going to make a difference. I posted this post here on my personal Facebook page, and it got over 100 likes. I mean, doesn't really, in the grand scheme of life, whatever the person takes from that is what it is. But people messaged me personally and told me that they've never thought about life that way, and that it really spoke to them in some way. And that's exactly what I want. And that is controlling what I can control. That is having a growth mindset, and that is choosing to be positive every day to help somebody else be positive every day. I'm a huge believer that if everybody practiced a mindset like this in some capacity, no matter what your religion is, what political side that you land on, or any other sensitive factor, that none of us would have disagreements about the aforementioned subjects, and it would be the difference in this world. So I really hope all of you enjoyed this today. I know we really got into it, but I really hope that all of you can practice this in some regard. There's no reason to be miserable if you don't have to be. There's no reason to be depressed if you don't have to be. And there's no reason 100% to be negative if you don't have to be about it. Being realistic is important, but making it positive is even more important, and that is certainly the difference. You can be the difference in this world. If you want to be, you can do it right now, and I really encourage each and every one of you to do it. Not all of us are in perfect situations, not all of us are happy right now, and not all of us are being able to enjoy the moment. But if you start slowly but surely getting out of a tough situation, you can certainly practice what I talked about in this video today. Once again, I think all of us have had some sort of major setback in our lives. Once again, for me, it was 3 years ago, and it taught me that life's a gift, and I can make whatever I want to out of it. I can believe what I can believe, I can control what I can control, and I can choose to be positive every day, because otherwise I might end up back in, some sort of setback, and during that setback, I might be the most miserable person ever if I don't have this mindset about it. But I continued to never give up on what I believed, and never gave up on, getting out of a tough situation. And by all means, I prevailed, and I'm proud to be here today, and I'm really excited to make a difference for all of you, and I really hope all of you enjoyed today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I know we, once again, really off from what I typically make video-wise, but I feel like it's important, I noticed comments, from my friends and, other people that I talk to about the positivity and the mindset, and that really speaks to me, and that's what I want to be indicative of, The aviation aspect of it's important, that's exactly what we do here, but, having that fun twist on aviation starts by what I talked about here in this video today, and I think it's important to recognize all this and, just grow as a person from it, right? You can be the difference in the world. Nobody's going to sit here and tell you not to go make a good difference in the world, and that's exactly what I want to do. This YouTube channel has been the definition of just that. I know I've changed many lives. I'm proud that I've changed many lives, and I will continue to change many lives because I've been positive every day. I control what I can control, and I've had a growth mindset. My dad is a great person. He's fantastic, but he told me about 5 years ago that I was wasting my time making these videos. And I proved to him that I prevailed from that. It's tough when people speak to you that way and they get you down, right? And it's frustrating at times, but I prevailed from that. And, I could have been negative about that for a long time. What I did is I understood his perspective. His perspective has changed since, but I believed in this. I controlled this and I had a growth mindset about this. And here we are 11,000 subscribers later making a difference. And that's exactly what we're going to continue to do, right? And I'm not here to call him out. I'm just using a powerful example from several years ago to what people feel like and how it goes. And that's really important to recognize, because once again, you don't forget when people tell you that. You don't forget when it's that meaningful. The question is how you handle it. And once again, that was frustrating the moment. I was really bummed out that he told me that. But once again, it was important for me, and I think the universe did it for good reason, because I needed to hear it that way to be able to handle it the right way and move forward as a person. So once again, no matter who tells you whatever, no matter how you get treated, no matter what it is, if you have all of what I've told you in today's video, there is no reason why you won't be successful in this world. So go be the difference. That's what I'm going to do for all of you. I really hope all of you enjoyed this video today. Go make a difference out there. Go be positive. It's important. Control what you can control. Have the growth mindset. If you do all this, you're going to be just an amazing person out there and making the difference for the world. And that's exactly what we're going to do with this YouTube channel. That's exactly how we're going to move forward. It's really important to continue to build up and just be the best version of yourself. There's no reason why you can't be. And once again, don't let any sort of situation get you down. Your flight getting canceled, not feeling good, not being able to choose where lunch is going to be. All this is frustrating, but keep in mind, just think about how many times you can be positive for the amount of times that you've ever been negative, right? Every time. I'm recognizing that I'm getting to make this video today. I'm fortunate to have this webcam here, the recording software, the internet, and a whole audience to be able to do this, and the YouTube algorithm and all of it. I'm so fortunate to have all that. It makes the difference. It's huge. It's changed my life, and I know it's changed many of yours as well. Once again, I know this isn't going to be my most, popular video, and I'm completely okay with that. It might be my most impactful one to 1, 2, 3 people, or maybe 100. I don't know how many people it's going to impact, but what I know is that I controlled it. I had a growth mindset about it, and I was positive about it for the whole video, and recognizing the relationship of being realistic as well. And it's super important. You can have positivity, you can have gratitude, you can also have trust. Trust the process, do what you love, and love what you do. I hope all of you enjoyed today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Never lose hope, never give up. Practice this mindset today. See what happens. Always listen to other perspectives, and know that it's free to be happy.